New reaction to the Democratic debate and a big warning from Senator Chris Coons about one of the night's standout moments. And here is that moment from former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, followed by Senator Coons.
So many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
I frankly think that that clip will be played for years at Second Amendment rallies with organizations that try to scare people by saying Democrats are coming for your guns.
Senator Coons endorsed Joe Biden in the primary back in April. Joining me now is Democratic strategist Antoine Seawright, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's campaign in South Carolina, and attorney and conservative radio talk show host Chandelle Summer. Thank you both for joining me this morning. Antoine,
Good morning.
Let's start with you. All right, what is your take on that clip that we just played? Do you think that O'Rourke's comments are going to end up backfiring on Democrats?
Well, to each his own. I think we all have to know that sometimes what we say and do can be eventually used against us in the court of public opinion at some point in time. But that's just part of this business. I think politics is a contact sport, and sometimes it doesn't always mean some of the things that we actually do. Sometimes it means some of the things we say. I don't think that the former congressman should make any adjustments based on what could happen, but I think he should definitely exercise his passion and say what he means, because he, just like everyone else on the debate stage, is trying to make their way towards the ultimate goal, and that's our party's nomination.
You think that's what, Antoine, that's what voters want anyway, right? Just a politician who says what he means instead of trying to finesse the best way to say it?
Arguably, that is why Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Perhaps that is why he won his party's nomination not too long ago, because he, as some put it, told it like it was. And so I think that, you know, everyone has their own strategy. My dad would say different strokes for different folks. And so, you know, I don't criticize the former congressman, but what I do will remind him, or what I will remind him of, that it could be eventually used against him and us in the court of public political opinion at some point.
All right, Chandelle, I want to ask you about the flip side now. So if Republicans don't get something done, at least in the areas that have bipartisan support, like on expanded background checks and red flag laws, do you think that could eventually hurt them in 2020?
I think this is an issue that's resonating with the American public, especially women. I think suburban women and also millennials are very much in tune to this particular issue. Children on college campuses, children in high schools have really been alerted to the last couple of mass shootings that we've had. And women are not particularly as protective of their gun rights as men are. So given that you've got these two constituencies, which are going to be very important in the election, if Republicans don't do anything, and so far I haven't been impressed with President Trump's reaction to all of this. He seems very lackadaisical. He's not doing anything. He's not taking a position. He's not taking a position in favor of background checks even. That's a very simple, reasonable response. Red flag laws seem to be, to me, the most effective and inconsequential reform that could be put into place, because if you have people who can at least say, hey, this person's acting a little strange, I have concerns about them, check it out, what's the harm in that? Why would anyone oppose that? So the fact that he hasn't even come out with strong support for that, I think, is very detrimental.
All right, Antoine, I want to talk about another controversial moment from the Democratic debate this week. Joe Biden responding to a question about what responsibility he thinks Americans have to repair the country's legacy of slavery. And here's how he responded.
Look, there is institutional segregation in this country. And from the time I got involved, I started dealing with that. Redlining, banks, making sure that we are in a position where, look, we talk about education. I propose that what we take is those very poor schools, the Title I schools, triple the amount of money we spent. Number two, make sure that we bring in to help the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. We bring social workers into homes and parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words.
All right, Antoine, what do you think about that response there?
So several things. I think that the vice president was, one, pointing to his body of work in the areas of what he has done based on his set of experiences to address some of the systematic things that have followed certain communities, particularly communities like mine, for a very long time. The other thing I think he was trying to do was combine that with what he has said consistently he will do to address some of those issues over time. Look, I think for the people who criticize or who do not like Vice President Biden, they're always going to have a problem with something he says or something he does because they want to use that as perhaps the reason to write his political benediction. But for the people who are being very objective and for the people who are still deciding what they want to do as relates to selecting who they want to be their pick for this Democratic nomination process, it will be totally different. At the end of the day, I think that we all have to remember the way we want to address these issues, even though we may have differences, do not compare to the failures and the way the other side have failed to address some of the issues that plague communities, particularly those who look like mine.
All right, Chandelle, I want to talk to you now about President Trump, who shared his assessment of the Democratic field during some remarks at the House GOP retreat in Baltimore. Let's listen to that, and I'll get your thoughts on the other side.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. Crazy Bernie. He is a crazy guy. Say, Buttigieg is 2 points up in the state of Texas against President Trump. I said, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't worry about that too much.
All right, Chandelle, first thing, do you think he's starting to see Elizabeth Warren as a serious threat to him? And secondly, do you think he should be more worried about Texas?
I think that he should probably continue to do what he thinks is best for the United States instead of getting into the name calling. The major criticism you hear about President Trump is his attitude and his belittling of allies, anyone other than someone he's trying to ingratiate. This idea that everyone has to have blind loyalty to him, all of these things are the problems people have with him. The things people like about him are the straight talk, the fact that he doesn't appear as a typical politician, and quite frankly, all of the Democratic candidates the other night appeared to me to be very much like your typical politician. They wouldn't answer a question. They wouldn't give a straight answer, with the exception of maybe Bernie Sanders, who I felt like was the most authentic during the debates. But that's what people like about President Trump. So the fact that he's doing the name calling, that's nothing new. It's just more of the same.
All right, we appreciate you being candid with us on this Saturday morning. Chandelle Summer, Antoine C. Wright, thank you to you both.
Good morning.
Thank you.